I want to bring in Leon here, and I know Leon, you have a presentation that you want to share with us, and I think your presentation really speaks to sort of sharing some figures and giving us a lay of the land, right? But what I really want to get from you is, from a global perspective, how do you see different countries using the film industry to boost their economies and contributing to the kind of growth that Sifiso was just speaking about?
Hi, good evening, everyone, and it's good to be here and speak on this really interesting subject. I'm only going to show a couple of slides. It's not a full presentation, but I think it's interesting what you say that film isn't just about entertainment, and I think that's absolutely the case. And we've seen in recent years a number of governments globally really becoming attuned to the impact and potential that this sector has in terms of economic impact, job creation, and a range of other powerful impacts. I think particularly in the post-COVID environment, film and television production is really becoming an area of focus for a lot of areas. And just to provide some context, we did some research which we published earlier this year, and is free to download on our website, o-sbi.com, to look at, first of all, the sheer scale of this industry on a global level. And it's no surprise to anyone that we've seen a huge amount of growth. This is a real global growth sector with impacts really across the world. And we looked at the value of film and television production in 2019, which is, of course, pre-COVID. And as you'll see on the screen, the value of that production globally was around 177 billion US dollars. That doesn't include things like commercials or news production. This is predominantly scripted drama. So as a direct output of an industry, that puts screen production above robotics. It puts it in 2018 terms above electric motor vehicle production. It puts it far ahead of other creative sectors like book publishing. In terms of gross value added, that takes us to over 400 billion US dollars. And in job creation terms, we're talking about 14 million full-time equivalent jobs globally. So it's a real powerhouse of a sector. Just to show you another couple of data points very quickly, we also looked at a number of individual film and television projects to really demonstrate what happened to a national or regional economy once a project sited came to shoot. And the example you'll see on the screen here is a very high budget feature film. This is an actual, a real project, which we can't name, but 220 million US dollar budget. And we worked with the producer to break down that spend week by week. And you'll see that after an 18-week prep phase, we're looking at a huge amount of spend being undertaken on a weekly basis, around about 10 million US dollars per average. And if you think about post-COVID, or as countries go back into production after COVID, the potential of these projects to deliver very, very rapid and significant direct economic impact to an economy is really, really pronounced, particularly if we think about the projects that have been able to prep during COVID and are ready to get rolling. Just finally, another really interesting data point. We also analysed a number of projects to look at how their production spend moved across an economy. And this is really interesting. And actually, only about 33% of film and TV production budgets stay within the screen production specific sector. The screen production is unique in the other areas of the economy it touches. And if we look at this diagram, this is an average across a number of productions. We see that some sectors that have been particularly hit by COVID are seeing real impact. So thinking about areas like hospitality, travel and transport, and so on, that huge amount of spending is really benefiting right across the economy. And just a final point that I'd like to make, and I know there's a lot to get through, is really what the previous speaker was saying about legislation and the importance of having a stable and predictable set of legislation that gives producers stability and certainty that when they come to shoot, everything's going to be okay. Because the upside is they're spending a huge amount of money, but they want to avoid any risk. One area of legislation that we've been tracking very closely is the COVID-related support or travel advisory for film and TV production, and it's interesting, and it underlines the value that so many countries put into this sector. Is the number of countries that have put in special support for film and television so that production can continue. There's some examples on the screen. A number of countries have actually increased their incentive offer over the COVID period, which shows the faith that they have in film production. We've seen Australia, for example, increase the funding for its location incentive by 400 million Australian dollars. Greece has increased its incentive, as has France, and there's real support in a number of countries for this activity, which underlines the impact that I've described. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Leon. I think it really helps to see those figures and to really understand what the impact is, because I think oftentimes people just consider what ends up on screen. That's what you see, and that's the only associate costs that people kind of think about. But when you give us that perspective, you're able to see all the different touch points that then come together to create this industry, which is what we're here to talk about.